Welcome to the video lesson 10, Noise, How It Affects Our Lives of Secondary Level English Learners. Before we begin any discussion on the lesson, let us understand what is noise and what is the difference between sound and noise. We all hear a lot of sounds every day. Which ones do you like and which ones do you not like? Sounds of birds chirping in the morning, sound of an instrument playing your beautiful music, sound of a little child, sound of a chime, tick-tock of a clock, sound of a grandmother telling you a story. And learners, how about these? Sound of cars and truck honking, sound of a loudspeaker playing music, sound of music played at very high volume, sound of DJs playing numbers at a party, sound of someone shouting at the top of his voice, sound of an aircraft flying just over your house, sound of thunder. In this lesson, we are going to discuss noise and how it affects us. Hope you have read your lesson thoroughly and know the contents. Coming to the brief summary of the lesson, learners. In this lesson, we shall talk about difference between sound and noise. A sound is pleasant only till a certain level. When it becomes too loud, it becomes noise. Sound is measured in decibels. A sound up to 85 decibels is not harmful, but beyond that level, it can cause a hearing loss or may damage the ear. Doctors across different countries are researching into the effects of loud and consistent noise. They found that it can also give headaches or heart attack. Some people who are living in a noisy environment may think they have got accustomed to noise, and that is, it does not disturb them. But it is not true. Even when they are sleeping, their bodies are reacting to the noise level. This is particularly true for people living close to noisy streets or close to railway tracks or near airports. Apart from that, rock bands or listening to loud music causes much damage to everyone. Governments are issuing regulations to curb noise levels and help citizens live in a pollution-free environment as to promote general health of the public. But nothing can succeed without public cooperation. As educated citizens, we need to take the responsibility of cleaning the environment ourselves. Sometimes small habits such as not playing loud music or doing things which will make noise can be avoided. We need to learn how to live quieter lives. Learners, look up the part number 1, 10.2 of the book. We just discussed that a sound which is loud and unpleasant is termed noise. We usually do not like to hear them. Consider the sounds made by fire engines, screeching of tires, sound of thunder, guns firing in the battle scene, sound of an explosion, etc. These are the examples of sounds which can cause noise and which can be termed as noise. How does noise affect us? Our ears are trained to hear sound up to certain level. Sound can be measured too, like we measure most of them. The unit of measurement of sound is called a decibel, and the instrument with which we measure it is called a decibetter. Zero sound is equal to faintest sound heard by a human ear. To give an example, if you were to measure sound in your bedroom, which is generally quiet, could be 35 decibels. On the other hand, a classroom, when it is silent, could measure about 50 decibels. This level of sound is tolerable and comfortable for the ears. Most people speak in a range between 45 and 75 decibels. What is that level beyond which sound can be termed noise, and at what level it has a negative impact on us? Scientists and doctors have found that a human ear can listen to a sound up to 85 decibels without damaging the ear. Actual pain in the ear can be felt at 145 decibels. Some may even feel the pain below this level. That means that even if we are exposed to sound ranging above 86 decibels and above without complaining, we are still exposed to the danger of damaging our ears. Some people experience a headache when they are listening to loud music for few hours at a stretch. This is an effect of the loud level of sound. Apart from damaging our ears, blaring sound or sound pollutes the air just like smoke pollutes the air. Pollution caused by very high decibels of sound are called sound pollution because they are harmful for not just human beings, but all life around. We have already said that noise damages ears after it reaches the levels of 85 decibels. Continuous exposure to sound beyond 100 decibels can result in hearing loss. However, this is not true for all human beings. There may be exceptions where the hearing loss may begin at a lower level too. Now, what would be your suggestions on how to control sound pollution and to protect our ears from getting damaged? Learners, here are some suggestions. It is not difficult to add some more suggestions of your own and implement them too. Learners, play music softly, speak softly, not to expose ourselves to loud music sounds, not to play loud music at parties. Learners, now let us read part 2 of the lesson, section 10.2. You may read from the lines noise pollutes to every week. In this part, we are given a comparison of how air pollution can cause breathing problems and water pollution can cause various diseases like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea and other stomach or digestion related problems. We all see how noise affects us even when we sleep. The writer reiterates that noise pollutes our environment just as smoke, dirty water, dirty air and litter that we throw in the open cause illness. Sound pollution too can cause illness and deafness. Our bodies are not able to handle too much noise or pollution of any kind beyond a limit. If we continue to live in such an environment where we are continuously exposed to any of the things mentioned above or any of the things told to you just now, we tend to think that our bodies are now habituated, so perhaps nothing will happen. But we are wrong. Our bodies continue to react. One example cited in the lesson is about Nasir. He lived in an apartment house which was near a busy street, and you know what sounds can be heard through the day. One can hear hawkers, vehicles screeching or honking, people talking, fighting, etc., etc. Now Nasir claimed that he had got so used to these sounds that he could sleep peacefully through all the noise. He said he just did not hear it. What he did not realize was that his body was continuously reacting to these silly sounds. This is like a body protesting or revolting against unpleasant stress caused by high-level sounds. Talking about the way our body reacts, doctors have proven that it is not just ears which can be damaged. High decibel sound can also cause heart problems. A doctor in West Germany did research on the effects of noise. Though Nasir claimed he could sleep peacefully through the blaring noise, he had been complaining of headache. This phenomenon can be explained medically. Noise causes blood vessels in the brain to expand. When this happens, it causes pain. Yet another doctor researching on the effect of loud music on people playing rock band discovered that when he was talking to these performers, some of them would say, "Speak up, doctor, we can't hear you." He discovered that all the players were suffering from hearing loss and some of them had become partially deaf. This was because they were playing music at a loud range between 105 to 115 decibels. It was not just the playing part, it had something to do with the long hours of exposures too. They would often play for more than 11 hours a week. So to sum up, we have seen that there has been a lot of research on the effects of noise on human body. Noise not only affects our hearing but can also be instrumental in causing heart problems or problems such as headache, which is called by blood vessels going to the brain expanding. So now you need to think what you can do as a responsible citizen. It is not just your own health but everyone's health that gets affected through constant noise. Think about what can be done by each citizen. Learners, let us now read the third section of the lesson, 10.3 or part 3. Read from the lines, it's the length of time to quiet ourselves. Learners, this is the concluding part of the lesson. So far, we have seen that though we cannot escape from some of the noise, but we can perhaps do something to minimize the effects. Let us read the final section before we apply our minds to what each one of us can do. We talked about the music band members suffering from hearing loss. We also realized that it is not the range of loudness, but also the length of time that we remain exposed to such an environment. There are many steps that we all can take to save ourselves from any damage to our health. At school, students can stop slamming their books on a desk. They can keep them quietly. Instead of walking through the corridors making a lot of noise, it would be better if you walked quietly. Corridors can multiply the sounds many times by the echo that the building can produce. By behaving well, you are contributing to the safety of all. If you are at home, then do not use too many gadgets at the same time. For instance, if you are using a vacuum cleaner, then do not switch on the washing machine or a mixer at the same time. Above all, we can be courteous to everyone in the house, including our neighbors, by turning down the volume of our stereos, radios, tape recorders, television sets, etc. Remember not to turn all of them at the same time. One thing at a time is good formula to work on. Government is doing its duty, but don't forget, we the citizens come first. If we are sensible, then we do not need any government laws to control us. We can begin by being quieter ourselves. Don't you agree, learners? Now, after reading and understanding this lesson, one thing that each one of you can do is to talk to your family and friends and see what you can do easily without disturbing any of your routine. The difference between sound and noise is that sound is low and pleasant, and therefore it is called sound. But when the same sound becomes loud, then it can cause damage to the health of all the living beings. Sound is measured in decibels. Any sound above 85 decibels is termed noise and begins to harm our ears. The dangerous levels are above 110. People who live in noisy surroundings may claim that their bodies are used to the noise and that they can sleep through the noise, but their claim is wrong. Even when they think they are sleeping, their bodies are actually reacting to the noise until they feel the need to go to the doctor. We learned that noise can pollute air just the way other pollutants do. Government across the world are passing strict laws to regulate the noise levels. We, the citizens, need not wait for government to frame laws. We can act with a sense of responsibility ourselves. Learners, let us adopt quieter habits. Learners, concerns and issues raised in this chapter. We need to act sensibly by ensuring that we adopt quieter habits. We can control our bad habits both at home and at school or office. Government may enact laws to regulate us, but is that required? Think about it. If we know that eventually we all are sufferers, can we not behave sensibly? The least we can do is not to play music loudly, not to talk loudly, not to run too many machines together, not to honk unnecessarily, not to shout in corridors or on the streets. You can perhaps add more do's and don'ts to the list and resolve not to wait for government order. But let's also consider those people who have no choice. Can something be done for them? Think for those who live next to a market. There are many who live close to airports or railway lines. They are constantly exposed to the roar of aircrafts taking off or landing. Those who live next to a railway line are exposed to the high rattling sound of a train every few minutes. We talked about a band which plays loud music and how not just the audiences but the players themselves have damaged their ears. Can you think of other jobs, professions where people are constantly living amidst noise day in and day out? Is there a way to save them from harming their health? Please look up the book of secondary level English of NIOS before writing your exam. Prepare well for your exam. Best of luck and thanks.